You want details? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. A couple here that I really like, but I'm going to get to this one first to try to help out a little bit. We had our guy check in saying, all right, quick question. I'm headed to Cancun at the end of the month. Any advice or help on the COVID testing to get back would be very much appreciated so I don't get stranded in Mexico for a couple of weeks. Some people would love to get stranded in Mexico. That realization kicked in at some point, Kyle, where I was like, I probably could have packed a mic and a task cam just in case. I didn't want to get stuck there. As nice as it was in Tulum, I didn't want to live there for 2 weeks with no basketball. Because when I first checked in, guys, I go, wait, no TV? And the guy was like, welcome to Tulum. We have no TVs in any of the resorts here in Tulum. I was like, none of them have a TV? I don't know if I'm buying that. I bet you there's some places here that have TVs. But it was good for me because I can't remember the last time I didn't watch NBA for 3 straight nights while the NBA season was going on. Yes, there have been 3 straight nights I have not watched NBA out of the season. But during the season, to consciously be like, I'm not going to watch the NBA for 3 straight days, which I definitely needed, especially this season. I don't know. I can't even tell you when the last time in my life that would have happened. I don't even know. I'm not sure. Well, yeah, probably when I was really young. But anyway, getting out though is the key thing here. So I'm going to give you some tips on some of this travel, and a lot of this could change. With vaccination numbers continue to go up, but the mask part of it, I think, is going to be a big part of still going through. The weird thing about the mask deal is like getting mad at people that don't have a mask, and then it's like, wait, what if that guy's vaccinated? So I'm just not super into policing everybody else, and I'm really not into policing everybody from my phone. I think there's better ways to spend your time. So let's try to help you out here. All right, so I'm an awful traveler in the sense that I'll be like, hey, I'm going to go here tomorrow, and then I'll be at that place and have a ticket out, and I'll be like, you know what, I'm good. I'm out of here. I'm going to go somewhere else now for a couple of days, and it's cool, and it's a freedom, and it's probably why I go by myself all the time. And in this case, leaving, I go, you know what, I'm going to get out here Friday so I can be ready to go and get caught back up on NBA stuff because I knew I was doing the pod with Bill on Sunday. So for the most part, it was all masked down there. Other than when I worked out at an outside place. So I'll admit to that. I got tested on the way in, and then what you do through the hotel is you ask them, okay, I need to get my test out of there. And this is where it gets a little tricky. So with the hotel, make sure they set up your test for you because there's testing sites all over the place. It's crazy. It's like people are selling pina coladas in little like bike stands. There's these just trailers parked on the side of the road all over the place, being like rapid COVID test, antigen and all these different options. And obviously you have to get the right one. So I got one going in. I didn't need it to go in, which I didn't realize because no one ever asked for it at least, but I went ahead and got it. And then on the way out, I was worried that the car wasn't going to be able to come and pick me up because I paid for a cab round trip from Cancun to Tulum because the guy's like, oh, it's cheaper. Don't do that. It's sort of cheaper, but it's way more convenient. And we're talking like $10 cheaper. It's not significantly cheaper. It's way more convenient for you to be able to just get in a taxi and go to wherever you're going to get back to the airport at Cancun. If you're just staying in Cancun, you're fine. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. But I mean, it's expensive. It's expensive from Cancun to Tulum in a cab because, I don't know, it was like $170 because it can take like 2 hours depending on traffic. And it could be even way worse if you're hitting at the wrong time. As I was leaving, coming in was brutal because there's really one road into the entire resort area. So I've taken my test. They told me I'd have the results by a certain time. Take your test the day before you're flying back. Don't take the test the morning of like I did because it was potentially going to get a little weird that if I had tested positive, then I wasn't going to be able to get on the flight. I was going to be stuck quarantining in Cancun the entire time while I was in a car getting an email saying, hey, you actually are not going to be able to get on this flight. So whatever. I'm in the clear. I don't have it. I get to the airport. They drop me off at the wrong terminal. You have to have your paperwork filled out, all the normal stuff you need for international travel. But then you also need to fill out a questionnaire on an app. And then you also have to have proof of the test so they can see that results come back that you're good to go. So when I got dropped off at the wrong terminal after I paid somebody to kind of walk me through the entire area, and I would emphasize that it's worth it to give a guy $10 to make sure you're going in the right direction. The difference was I got worked for the $10 because the guy saw me getting out of the taxi. And honestly, is any of this interesting? I'm going to ask you guys in the middle of this, because now as I keep going, I'm kind of talking, going, I don't think this is really life advice. I think this is boring trip recap.
Sounds like you're almost out of there.
Well, here's where it gets interesting.
Okay,
so I get
here
to
we go.
right. I get to the right terminal, and the guy's like, no, you're at the wrong terminal. $20 to go to the right terminal. I go, there's no way. There's 4 terminals. There's no way I'm going to be wrong. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. And I grab somebody else. I go, hey, look at this ticket. He's like, yeah, you're right over there. And I look at the guy, like looking at the $20 deal, and he just sort of shrugs and walks away. I was like, cool. You were actually going to take $20 from me to drive me to the wrong terminal after I've already been at the wrong one. Get up to the front. The lady there, and look, there can be this arrogance as an American where you think there's going to be more people that can speak English to help you through on travel. But you're in Cancun, you're in Mexico City, it's not as common as you would think. And so the woman behind the counter could barely speak English, and she was telling me that I'd only paid for the first leg of the trip. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. None. And so she gave me the first, because I had a connection just to get out of there. She gave me the first ticket. She didn't give me the second ticket and my baggage claim after the bag had been checked in, and held it to be like, no, you need to go back to the front of our gate and pay for the rest of the ticket. And she's like dangling it, being like, I'm not giving this to you. I was like, okay. I was like, all right, this is working out. So I go back over there. The guy starts writing down on a piece of paper how much more I owe. And I go, hey, look, I'm sorry. I know we don't understand each other, but there's no way that Delta would allow me to book a flight and on an app and then pay for it, but then I didn't really pay for it. Like, come on. They didn't just open up for business yesterday. So then she just comes over and she's like, hey, sorry, my mistake. Like, all right, cool mistake. Then you get to this other like river of people to this little end of access, and you can't get through it until you show that you filled out this questionnaire, and then you have your passport and you have your ticket and all this stuff. And nobody knows what the hell's going on because there's like one person. Mm-hmm. And I went up, got it wrong, got turned to the back, and then everybody's just looking at their phones, clueless. Nobody knows who to ask. No one's in charge. No one's helping anyone. And I go, I think I have this right. And I just sort of hit refresh, held the tickets, and just was like power walked. And she's like, yeah, you're good. Then when you get to the actual check-in to get your carry-on stuff to go through security, which we all understand that process, just to pass time, I like to pick somebody else that I'm going to go up against. So I'll be like, all right, I'm going to take lane 4 and you're going to be in lane 1. We were entering at the same time. Let's see who wins. And I thought I had a really good chance at lane 4 because there was a local guy that kind of went, amigo. And he pointed here. I was like, okay, this guy's got a vest, a badge. He knows what's up. He's telling me to go lane 4. I always think you want to go wide on the entrance lanes because human nature is just kind of follow the herd in front of you and you just stay there. I'm like, no. Walking away further actually means I'm going to get through the line a little bit quicker. All right, let's pick out a guy. I pick out this huge redheaded man with a massive, massive walking stick. So I don't know what the hell his program was, but I go, all right, I'm not going to lose sight of him. And we're going through it. And I'm already like 4 guys behind him. And now I'm doing rapid counting, trying to figure out like who's in front of me. I get really competitive about it because if I lose it, that could set me off for about an hour, which seems like a problem, but we'll worry about that later. And as I'm going through the line, I'm like, I'm losing to him. This sucks. And then I put my hand on like a turn area and I go, all right, now I have gum, fresh, wet gum on my hand. That sucks. And now I'm trying to get the gum off my hand, but I don't want to touch it with my other hand. And then I don't want to wipe it on my shoe because then I have gum on my shoe the rest of the time. But I also don't want to be completely inconsiderate so that now there's gum somewhere else. And as I'm trying to just smack gum out of the air off of my hand and it's going on and on, I'm like, all right, somebody's definitely going to tape this because I look like an idiot right now. So I've already lost a walking stick guy. I've got gum on my hand. And then when I finally do get up to the area to take out your bags and everything, a little guy's about to cut me. And I was like, nope, amigo. Nah. And he's like, all right, yep, fair. And then right as I get up, I've got a water bottle. But as we all know, in most airports, there's a receptacle immediately as you get to the X-ray to dump the last bits. And I've gotten everything through. I'm chugging some water. And the woman is like TSA style, no, back of line, you have to throw that water out. And I'm going, no. I'm like, what do you mean throw it out in the back of the line? Like there's got to be a garbage can here somewhere, right? And I know I sound like I might be one of those. I actually am not this person when I travel, but it just wasn't happening for me. It just wasn't happening for me, people. I don't know what to tell you. So I look around and there's a garbage can about 10 feet away. And I'm like, just chuck it, make the shot. Don't go to the back of the line and start over.
Oh, no.
And I take a deep breath and it was one of those ones with a metal lid, so it just landed smash at the top of the metal lid, spun around a ton. Bucket is good through the X-ray. Back in LA a few hours later. So I felt it was one of the best athletic feats of my life in recent. Not the best thing I've ever done, but after all of that, it was a nice way to feel good about myself again.
Yeah, don't want to clank that one.
There was a lot of pressure. So I feel all I can tell you is get the test the day before you're leaving so you have the results and there's no anxiety about getting them in time for your flight that day. Even though it'll say like, hey, day of is fine. Don't do that. And give yourself plenty of time. I'm more of a get to the airport an hour before guy. International travel, it's like mandatory. Some places 2 hours. There's a story of one place wouldn't let me get on a plane like 9 years ago, which sucked because then they were telling me I might be stuck in the country for like another 4 days, which I don't think ESPN was going to be thrilled with that. But yeah, so that was a lot there. It was sort of a story. I love to pick a guy in another line though and see how you do. But it sucks when you lose. So there you go. All right, let's actually do some life advices because that went on a little too long. We got our man Bill checking in. I love what he did here. This is no one's done this before for life advice, and I'm really thrilled about it. All right, Russillo and Kyle. Thought you would enjoy this one. I'm moving to a new apartment in Philly with 4 friends from Penn State. So this is 5 dudes. We're going 5 wide Penn State guys. The apartment layout is attached. He attached the apartment blueprint. Okay, this is nice. I don't understand. Wait, is it 5 guys here? Because we get a 4-bedroom deal. Maybe he meant to say all 4 of us from Penn State. That's my guess here. All right, apartment 2,700 square feetage. 4 beds, 4.5 baths, 2 bedrooms on either side of the living area and kitchen in the middle. You pick one of the other bedrooms, not near the living area. Living area and kitchen are entirely one room, 1,250 square feet, 50 feet long by 25 feet wide. Room is shaped like a rectangle. No island in kitchen. The wall opposite the kitchen is entirely windows. Half bath is tucked away amongst bedrooms on right side. That's the other reason why you don't want to have a bedroom near the living area, because that means every time you have people over, that bathroom is going to be the hot zone. All right. So just giving you a little advice. You want to try to stay away from the communal bathroom. But you guys are so young here. I actually think you're too young for this apartment. So what we're saying here is that on this main floor plan, it's one of those big open deals where the living area, wait, we got 2 living areas. This is crazy. So the kitchen is in the middle of this long run. So think of like one floor where it's just one long run of kitchen, dining, living area, but they have a kitchen in the middle and then living areas off to the side, which would be a dining room and then would be a living room. Okay. All right. I hope everybody's following along. So would love to hear both you or any listeners' ideas of what they would do with this insane amount of space in the living area. Currently, we're debating one side to be a huge sectional, 5 TVs hung up. Setup would be like the number 5 on a die. This guy's very descriptive. Terrific job here. 10-foot floating island in front of the kitchen, and then on the opposite side have a 12-foot dining table with benches. However, one of my roommates wants to put a sectional on the opposite side of the room with another set of TVs, then move the dining table into the middle. I personally don't like this idea because why would we have 2 separate chill areas? I also enjoy having a dance area while hosting in the dining room table. It would constantly be in the way. All right, so
I agree.
Rephrase that sentence. Yeah. I also enjoy having a dance area while hosting, and the dining room table would constantly be in the way. We're all doing well professionally, all 26 and single, so we want to live this last experience up before buying houses. You guys, your head is absolutely in the right place here. I do have friends, one group that stayed in San Francisco. We call them the Chefs. And I think they made it until their mid-30s, renting just a sick house in downtown San Francisco. And then finally they had to give up and move on and become adults. So I love this. Okay, dining room table. Kyle, immediately in agreement with you here. Don't get a dining room table. You know what you're going to do with it? Put shit on it. And it's just going to sit there. It's going to be coats. It's going to be mail. And you're going to look at this and go, oh, wow, I got this in April. And now it's 2024 February, like you're just not gonna. Everybody wants to do that, and I know you guys, it's really cool You get this nice place. You're all doing pretty well. You want to go full Restoration Hardware and all the little stuff and all of it. And I kind of get it. And it's kind of cool if you're the more grown-up, younger guys on the block and you're inviting some friends over and you meet some women and you're like, hey, why don't you sit down on our dining table and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of cool. But you just said you want a dance area. So you're not having fucking dinners there. So, and on top of that, you're going to be eating subs in front of your 5 TVs the entire time. So a dining room area is going to be nothing but a waste of space and storage that isn't efficient storage because it's going to be shit on the table all the time. Trust me on this one. So that's the easiest fix of all of it. Kyle.
Word. I agree. I think have room for activities, dude. Screw the dining room table. Get a poker table, man. Get a card table. Get the green felt on that shit.
Card table activities. Okay. And you can move the card table away. The other guy wants a double chill area. How do you feel about that, Kyle?
I actually don't think that's a problem. Especially if there's like a little rift. I mean, there's 4 guys, if there's a little, it's like I'll go to chill area A and just fucking cool out over there. And you just stay here with B.
I don't hate it. I got to tell you, I don't hate it. But if you're putting 5 TVs in chill area A, even I would tell you a chill area B with more televisions seems excessive.
Maybe it's 1 television and that's like where you play the Xbox. Because if you're playing Xbox while in the middle of everybody's like college basketball Saturday and there's like 4 games, I can see how that's a fucking problem.
Really?
You don't think so? If there's like 5 TVs and 4 of them are games and there's one guy playing Xbox with his buddy from back home, like just playing Call of Duty, just cursing up a storm, you don't think those guys are going to be like, dude, what are you doing?
Does that happen a lot, though?
I don't know. I only had 1 TV.
Can't you just go into the bedroom or something?
I guess.
Although then it's like, do I want to sit on my bed and play video games with my buddy from home? I don't know. I would think in most scenarios, you'd be like, hey, no Call of Duty while Penn State's on. Like everybody here wants to drink and watch the game because that's what we're doing. So why are you, racking up kills?
Well, if there's two areas, who gives a shit, right?
Yeah. So that's an argument for chill area B. I had so many TVs put in the new house that even the TV guy was like, I might want to add 1 more in the garage because I'm working out here. And then in the morning, college football Saturdays, football pregame stuff. Although I don't watch a lot of pregame stuff. I just like, maybe it would make sense to just kind of have something on, in case something goes a little bit longer. And, Iowa's kicking off at 9 a.m. out here. America needs farmers. And then the guy was like, yeah, I think you're good. The guy who installed my TVs told me that's enough, which I was like, that's weird. Normally businesses don't tell you, hey, I don't want to give you any more business, but he shut me off. He just was like, hey, it's last call, man. It's been last call for half an hour. No more TVs for you. So I think it's a little excessive, but I think we're in agreement here. We're both very much anti dining table. I don't know if Cerruti wants to chime in on this one.
No, I think I don't understand the dance area in the middle. Is that like that's going to be a useful thing to have in the area? Like you're just going to start playing music and people start dancing. That's unfamiliar to me. I just would never do that. I am 100% with Kyle and against the guy writing in because I kind of love the split entertainment area idea. Because you're right. If you got a guy playing FIFA or Call of Duty, I don't want that guy while I'm watching like Roma or Everton or something. I'm watching my games on the weekend. Like those needs to be separated 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was a big U couch guy. I was big multiple seating. Like I always wanted to be able to fit a lot of bodies. And the irony is I never have anyone over anywhere ever. Ever. Like never at this house. Connecticut, there was nobody to come over. Boston, I don't think I wanted anybody to come over. Because just in case. I remember when I first moved to Manhattan Beach, there was a couple guys that like came by to check out the place. They were like, this is going to be awesome. We'll be watching football here every Sunday. And I was like, what? No. I was like, that's not, what do you mean? What, where did you get that information? I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to, no, I sit here and take notes by myself. I don't want you guys over here. You guys going to bring over a bunch of Bud Lights and just let it go? I'm like, no, sorry. All right, here we go. Cop neighbor. Okay. Here's our guy checking in 6'6", 225, pretty skilled athlete, but weak as shit. All right. He has a 100-pound, 11-month-old polar bear of a puppy, a Great Pyrenees poodle mix. Huh. What's that look like? Can we get IT on that? I don't even know what that would look like. I take him on walks through our neighborhood twice a day. We live in Bend, Oregon. Shout out to Blockbuster. Maybe the most dog-friendly city in America. 8 out of 10 houses on our block at least own one dog. All right, so I didn't know Bend is also a big video rental place, but also dog spot. Bend is nice. This morning when I was walking the dog, he stopped to pee, as he does half a dozen times each morning. It happened to be right in front of one of those no dog poop signs in my neighbor's front yard. 3 houses down the street from ours, a man comes out and begins yelling all caps at me for how disrespectful it is. He says things like, grow the fuck up. And that is hella disrespectful. Wait, a grown man said hella? I've never been a fan of the term hella. I think it could be a West Coast thing. I'll let it go here, but it's a little bit of a warning. He also said, quote, be a fucking good community member. He also tells me that he has multiple times watched me on a security camera stop right there and let my dog pee in his yard. All right, so that's why he's so worked up. He's seen you do this before. His wife also came out and began yelling things at me. This goes on for a few minutes. To make things better, he's a police officer who happens to work out at my gym, and this gym is not some 10,000 square foot Planet Fitness. It's a small CrossFit HIIT type gym with classes of 5 to 10 people. My wife and I regularly work out with him and his wife. They've always been sweet up to this point. So you guys all know each other. Huh. And he was that mean. Your dog is pissing on his lawn a ton, is my guess. And he just finally snapped. My response initially while he was yelling F-bombs at me in his front porch at 7:30 a.m. was to let him know that I'm not intentionally trying to have my dog pee there and that I would try from now on to not let it happen. I always err on the side of kindness and letting things go. I'm not a confrontational person, but I do kind of wish I would have thrown some of his words back at him, especially the be a good community member comment. My wife and I both teach special education at elementary schools, and I'm a part-time children's ministry director at my church. God. Oh, I meant gosh. I would say I'm a pretty good community member, as if having a nice front lawn makes you a better member of the community than the way you treat your neighbor. Yeah, look, it's pretty clear here with you and your wife are doing these things. You guys are giving back to the community in a big way. All right, my question is this. Even though I have a feeling you might side with my police officer neighbor, why should I do this? Oh, that's because I'm the anti-dog guy, right? Oh, by the way, when I did come back, just a couple days, garbage can, new record of amount of dog shit in my garbage can. Like, I opened it up to throw some stuff out of my car, and it just absolute stink fumes.
People are listening, man. That's a good sign.
Yeah, people are listening. They're like, hey, make sure you chuck all your dog shit in Russillo's bin. But you know what? I kind of get it. I don't like it, but I kind of get it. I'm not going to start monitoring security footage here. I did for the one that happened out front, but that was really that was on the dog, and the dog and I'm not going to talk to the dog about it. Okay. All right. So guy wants to know how to handle this. Was he right to lay into me? Are we still going to see that? We're still going to see him multiple times a week around the neighborhood of the gym. Do I pretend nothing ever happened and walk the dog on the other side of the street from now? Or do I confront the way he handled the situation? Or maybe you don't think I have grounds to. What I really wanted to do was sarcastically kill him with kindness and go back to the house, grab a bucket of soap and water, some yellow rubber gloves, and go scrub their sidewalk so they could watch that in a security camera. Maybe that leaves a note saying I would try harder on now to be, he's doing the capitalization, non-capitalization thing. Be a better community member. Our guy's locked in. How old is he again? Oh, we don't know. I now believe that anytime anyone does the lower, upper, letter deal, that it's usually bad content. But here I kind of get your point. My dog's freaking 100-pound polar bear. I can't control where he decides to stop at a diamond whiz. Thanks. Love the pod. Okay. The dog part's tough because it's not like he's going number 2, he's going number 1, and the dogs are just going to pee. I mean, it's science. They're dogs. You can't reason with them. So I kind of feel for you on this one, right? And I don't think I'd get super mad about the dog pee thing, but chances are it feels like a lot of stuff. If this guy bought a sign and he likes rules, he's a cop. There's probably a lot of pent up stuff that you were the recipient of that isn't all on you, right? But he didn't have to say that kind of stuff to you. The be a good community member is not even like a cool comeback. And then the hella thing, I'll let slide now. What I think I would do here, and maybe, I don't know, I think a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I would go up to him and I would say, hey, look, you lost your shit on me. I have a couple things to say to you. I want you to hear them out. And if we're cool after that, great. And if you're not, we're not going to be cool. And so at least you know where we stand. Because you feel like you let this guy lay into you because you're not confrontational, and it's bugging you a little bit. I think that's happened to a lot of us in life where I remember I was in a pickup basketball game. I was in my mid-20s. I'd moved to a new town, and I was getting pissed the way this guy was playing, and he wasn't that good, and he was trying to like hack me a little bit. And so I just kind of kept giving him looks, and I was sick of it. And he finally was like, all right, let's fucking go, you and me outside. And I didn't want to fight him because it was like a new place. And, obviously I could have lost too, because that would have sucked. But I was like, I kind of just eye rolled and was like, you can't guard me. So that's why you're losing your shit. And I'm just letting you know that I'm sick of it. And now you want to fight me because you can't guard me. And he couldn't let it go. He couldn't let it go. On and on and on, and he was letting me have it because I was new. And then the new people were like looking at me like, how is he going to respond? And I just didn't feel super comfortable. I'd barely been in this town, and I didn't fight him. And I regretted it immediately the next day. And for probably a month, which is psychotic, for about a month, I was like really mad at myself. I was like, you should have just done it. You should have just done it. You should have just done it. If you lose, you lose. But if you win and you're the new guy in town, and I look, for whatever reason, it's been 19 years and I still think about it sometimes. So don't do that. I would go up to him, not in any attacking mode, and I would just be real simple. Be like, all right, look, I know how frustrated you are, and I can't understand all the different things that you've gone to get to the point of having a sign and like ready to go and looking at security cams. And I'm going to promise that I'm going to do my best. And I'll go on the other side of the street. You know what I mean? I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that happens, because that bothers you that much for you to treat me that way and talk to me that way. But don't ever talk to me that way again, because I am a good member of the community, and we're going to see each other all the time. So I understand where you're coming from, but understand where I'm coming from, that even if you're a police officer or whatever, like that was your one time to talk to me that way. And you're never going to do that to me again. All right. And if we're cool, and honestly, as a cop, he might actually respect it a little bit, but you never know. Like I know some people are going to be listening to like, oh, every cop sucks and all that kind of. That's just not true. But if he's a super hothead, he may not like it, but at least it'll make you feel better about it instead of just thinking about it and never doing anything ever, right? Because I think that's the worst of all of the options here. You don't want to be in a situation where you're letting this stew and you're mad at yourself and you almost question your own manhood, which can be a weird thing. But let's be honest, we do it at times. I would just be really cool. You don't have to be mean. You don't have to be tough guy about it. You can just go straight up like, hey, I get where you're coming from. Obviously, this has happened to you a lot, and that's my bad, and I'm going to make sure it doesn't happen again. But I don't appreciate you talking to me like that, and I'm just telling you right now, don't ever say that to me again. And I hope my wife and I see you at the gym and everything's cool. And I bet you it works. I bet it does, unless this cop absolutely sucks. And then, look, I'm just a guy with a podcast trying to figure people out through emails, so I'm not going to be right all the time. Okay, it's good to be back. We'll be back on Thursday, and we'll talk to you then. Please subscribe, spread the word, keep the podcast growing. Thanks.